Here we are. We are live.
We
Live,
are
live, live,
live. Happy Tuesday, y'all. How's everyone feeling?
We're great. We're great.
I'm trying to emulate everything Val does because I'm measuring with a ruler how much from her chest to her head on the camera.
Lift your
So
head up.
I'm doing everything
Hold
she
your head
does.
up high.
I think we got almost the same.
I
Back
love
up,
y'all.
Tracy.
Let's
Is
do
it?
this. If I'm
We're gonna channel Willow. Say wow, wow.
wow.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good
Good morning.
morning.
Money,
Good
money.
morning, love. Hey, y'all.
It's a half
Welcome
hour show.
in.
I don't know if we got time for all of this, y'all.
Where in the
No,
world?
Yeah, we got time.
we have time for everything.
time.
We got time. We got time for shenanigans to warm up, warm up,
Yes.
warm up our voice, warm up our energy.
So I want to apologize to all the listeners who are waiting for us to warm up.
Oh no, no, no!
Sorry.
This is the show. You are
Oh,
watching the show.
okay. Oh well. Bye.
This is it. This is
Bye,
us.
Felicia.
This is us. You
We
get
are
the
there this
full
morning.
I got
experience.
a real
This
cousin
morning.
named Felicia. She
It
don't
says
like that.
zero listeners. You see, zero.
No, we have
Bigger
plenty.
and
We have
better.
multiple channels.
We
see.
are.
Multiple.
There'll
They are.
never be zero
No, they're just
listeners. We are
quiet.
right. We are okay.
What's our
Good
topic?
morning, y'all. Welcome to Me Moment in the Morning. How are you ladies feeling today? How are you goddesses today? Are you feeling
Woo.
goddessly?
Always.
Is that a word?
Right?
That's a word. We once
So,
Tracy
so.
said it, it's a word.
That's a
When she
word.
says it,
Are you
it's a
asking
word.
me if that's a word?
I'm asking you if
I
that's
know
a
you ain't
word.
asked me if that's a word.
Yes, I did.
Remember how we
Okay,
used
so
to
when whatever words I make up, say, do, think,
It's
is it,
done.
ain't, all of that. Yeah, it's whatever it is. It's a
I
word.
think
Yes,
we need
ma'am.
like a Slay dictionary. It's like the Webster. It's like she says it.
Oh,
Oh,
I'm gonna have to make my own dictionary. There you go. You
say
it's
can't
a
the
tell us
word.
what is and what ain't.
It's a word.
And I
Let's
like the word ain't, so I'm gonna say ain't when I feel like saying ain't.
Oh my
Sometimes
Sometimes
it's
I'll say, "Can you use that in a sentence?" I'm like, "Repeat that again," because I don't know what that. And then you know what's funny? I will find that in a movie and prove her that it's been a word
see.
across the pond, across a different country, and I'm like, "You see, it's in a movie somewhere you didn't even know."
There have been a
There it is.
few. Yes, there have been a few of
There it
those.
is. Good
So,
morning.
Good morning, Val. Good
good
morning, DJ
morning.
Val.
DJ Val in the house on a
I like
Tuesday.
the puffy hair. I like it.
Yes.
Yeah, it's called. I didn't want to slick it back no more. There
No,
you go.
no, just I
I'm
woke
Ain't
up
got
sure
time.
when you was laying in the crib as a baby, I'm sure that's what your hair did.
That's right.
That's exactly what it did.
Let
So,
me be.
yeah, exactly. So we're good.
Yes, we
Let
are.
it,
Yes, we
let it
are.
be. Let it be. All right, y'all. So I don't know if people are gonna be happy with me today, but I don't care
Woo.
because I think we need to put some things on the table. So the topic today is unmute. Unmute. We cannot heal if we do not speak up and out about it. It's time to speak up and out about our issues, our ailments, those little hidden secrets, those generational traumas and curses, as some people call them. Whatever they are, we need to start speaking up and
Mm.
out about it. So let me just start with the message, which is coming from I Am Her, an anthology of healing, evolution, and rebirth. I am on page 45 if you do have the book already. All right.
Enjoy. Say Belinda.
Hey, y'all. Good morning, goddesses. Welcome in. Welcome in. Perspective. I'm not generally one to speculate about or dwell on the past except to learn or teach from it. That does not keep me from asking the difficult questions, though. What should I have done? Was I wrong not to tell? Was I wrong not to talk about it? I don't think I'll ever be able to answer these questions for certain things. I mean, think about it. 13, no child that age, no matter how mature, should ever have to even think about certain shit. I only pose these questions to myself now because things like this are still going on in our homes and in our communities worldwide, us, Black folk. Um, so, why do we keep things hush hush? We keep it hush hush so the outside world doesn't know our dirty little secrets. After all, we have enough to deal with in reference to all the other bullshit being Black in America comes with on a daily basis. And as fucked up as that all is, are you telling me that we are not even going to try to clean up the big pile of horse shit sitting in the middle of our living room floor? Really? We're getting ready to sit here and look at this shit as though it's a fucking coffee table and not acknowledge the stank ass stench that's been lingering for generations. There has to be a way, y'all. And I'm saying that way is to unmute. At least start there.
Mm-mm-mm.
Sounds like a whole lot of hurt all up and through
Mhm.
what you just said.
Mm.
You want to unpack
Absolutely.
that for us? Whoa, whoa. We before we say
Can you
anything,
smell the
unpack what you
stench?
unpack the
Before you
crap
can
that you just
unmute.
described. No, I'm serious. I'm dead
Un-
serious. Go ahead and unpack that
Unpack
for
it.
us.
Unpack
Unpack it
it. I can't
completely.
unpack it by myself. We gonna unpack this together because there is so much going on. So wait, first let me just make this clear. This is
Hmm.
the journey that I am on, right? I am on a journey of self-love. I'm on this journey of finding and acknowledging my own truth so I can heal myself as
Mhm.
well as things that have come uh up my line, so to speak, the generational line. So when this came out, this topic came up because of something that happened in my past. And we can talk about that another day. But I think that a lot of times our children, we go through certain things unnecessarily where we don't have to. And we hold on to we meaning we as families let's think about the family unit first. So we as a family have all of these things and we wonder why we can't move forward, we can't do other things in life, we're always like stuck on the hamster wheel. But a lot of times it's because we haven't dealt with things from our past, and that can
Mhm.
be the family, that could be us even as individuals, right?
Okay.
So
Okay.
we've talked previously about speaking love and life to ourselves and other people. Now it's time to start speaking up and identifying those things that have hurt us in some way, shape, or form. So it's
All
time
right.
to unmute. That's
Mhm.
how
So
we.
so let me jump in with that. Unmuting to the wrong people is not wise,
I'm talking
especially
about
if you.
unmuting to yourself first. I'm talking
Oh,
about
okay. Unmute to
you have
yourself.
to
Okay, there you go.
you
All
have
right.
to
So
you have to do it for you first. And I'm not
okay.
Mhm.
saying to unmute yeah, I'm not saying it in that way. Yeah, cuz you don't have to tell anybody your business. This is between you and your ancestors, you and your God, your spirit, your source, whatever that may be. So
And
sorry.
acknowledging, you have to acknowledge it first because I think a lot of time we see, we hear, and we've had that almost conversation first in terms of the whispers, the signs, the cues, and we just like, no, I don't see it. No, no, I don't see it. So it's you when you're seeing those things, when you cues are happening and you choose sometime or you just pretend it's not there because that's not what you want to see, that's not what you want to deal with yet. And so you put the blinders on and you're like it's not happening until it explode and you're like I'm gonna make you see this ready or
Mhm.
not kind of situation. So that's where you acknowledge it, right? See it
Yeah,
for
we
what it
allow
is.
the
It
build
doesn't
up.
mean you need to see it all in that moment. Simply
Mhm.
acknowledge it. Okay, I'm seeing what I'm seeing, I'm hearing what
That's
I'm
right.
hearing.
Okay.
And
All right.
then go through the process, go through that journey, and unpack it like you were saying. Unpack it. What am I seeing? What does this mean to me? Have I seen this before? How is this connected to whatever's going on? And what does it mean? What does it mean to me? How does it relate to whatever? And how am I gonna deal or not deal with it? Because if you don't want to deal with it, be honest that I don't want to deal with this right now.
Right now.
All right.
Do I need
So
to talk
we're
to somebody to come in? Like, do I need to call Tracy? Because Tracy can deal with it. Or do I need somebody to listen to me? Because sometimes I do that where I'm like, okay, this happened. Am I hearing? Did I see what I said to you that I saw? Did I respond or reacted the right way to that crazy that just happened?
Yeah.
Because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's a lot that to have witnessed or to have gone through a certain thing. So you might need a witness or another person to share that and say, this is what happened. This is what I
Yeah.
was told. And this is how I feel, how I responded. Was I crazy? Am I crazy? And you can use whatever word feels to you. And in this moment, this is how I feel. And then that's a way of unmuting and let
Yeah.
that out. Because I think a lot of time we don't realize holding it in and pretending like it's not happening, it's not the truth. Nope, I didn't hear what was said. And for me, because of doing that work, that inner work, I realized a lot of the things that I was feeling, not even just feeling, a lot of the dis-ease, a lot of the diagnosis I was dealing with was related to those past traumas and those wounds. Like we talk a lot about that mother wounds. Oh my God,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even have a name for it because again, it's that generational, lineage or passage that happened where I'm like, I didn't want to face it, and there was that thing, that tension between my mother. As much as we talk about that love, my gosh, there was
Yeah.
also that tension where I'm like, we're so used to just talking about the love that we're afraid to say, you also hurt me along the way. You also left me along the way, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't on purpose, but we refuse to acknowledge it because we think it's going to dilute the love. But they also made decisions that hurt us. And so I think those pain that we feel, whether it's in your back, your shoulders, and those, even migraine, like those things we feel in our
Mm-hmm.
bodies,
In your belly.
that's a
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
reflection of those traumas. And so by not acknowledging it, they're gonna turn into something and you're gonna deal with it, ready or not, whether you want to or not. So those are the things. So I'm hoping, we can add more to that. If that sounds familiar, is it something you felt like, oh, I never thought of it that way? That's also part of that conversation. And that's also a way of unmuting, whether now or down the line, if it feels familiar.
Yeah. And how about just knowing that you're not alone in having those feelings, right? And those things that do cause all kinds of trauma in the body. And it's just time to be acknowledged. Val, were you going to say something? I'm sorry.
yeah, I've been sitting on this for a minute because I'm glad that you, Marie, got very specific about what, because we can say we want to unmute about something, and it just sounded. I just heard pronouns, and then you said my mom, and I was like, okay, so now I can attach myself to that. I can think about that. I'm going to ask the chat: have we done the inner work to heal from past hurts? Have we looked at ourselves and unmuted? In other words, talk to ourselves. For me, and I'm going to get very specific. Um, this is the work that I did in grief recovery. And I had to just kind of go 7 to 8 layers down to how um, I was very hurt by my mother's passing. But then there's a lot of things in the 40 plus years that we were with each other. I literally ran away from home, went to New York because I needed to put some distance between us. We were arguing every single day, and I was like, "Why are we doing this?" And it's one of my cousins told me you have to pay the cost to be your own boss. So you have to be you're still hearing your mom, but you want to stand on your own and be a grown woman yourself. And so I learned and I did the work with myself. I had to sit and write down what I was feeling, kind of a timeline of things that really hurt me. And unfortunately, those hurts came from my mom. But then if you go another step back, those hurts happened to her when she was young, and so on and so on. Just kind of that being generational protection of like, we got
Mhm.
to work hard, we got to pick this cotton, we don't want to get and I'm sorry, my grandmother was a little gangster. She would show up with a shotgun when the white man would show up at her door. Like, look, I don't know, this ain't 1865 or 18. Y'all, I'm protecting my family. But my mother, she didn't. My mother didn't pull a deer with me, but she was very protective in that way. So I just had to kind of give voice to, wow, my entire the career that I really wanted was derailed because of what my mom told me at the very beginning after I graduated from college, and I ended up going in a different direction, and I had to go through that and go, I forgive my mom for that because she was being protective. Get the safe job, get the 9 to 5, go and get work, get your pension, whatever, whatever. Because in the same way that her mother protected her in some ways, my mom was doing the same thing for me. So this was, and I'm just talking about myself. This was an
Mhm.
issue that I had to deal with, especially when going through grief counseling. So I'll leave it. I'll leave it there.
Oh, you're muted, I think.
Tracy, we can't hear you.
Uh
Sorry.
oh.
There we go.
There you
There we
go.
go.
Yes.
I just wanted to say thank you, Val, for being so open and honest about that. Um, and you brought up protection. And what I would like previous generations to know is that, you know, it may feel like protection, or you may perceive it as being protection, but I don't need protection from, that's something that you believe to be true in the past. And I just also want to say there's no judgment ever.
Of
That's
course.
not what it's about. It's really about us learning to move forward from our past. And I think that sometimes what happens is, this generation learns. I think Mount Spirit, you said that in the past, like each generation do better, right? And so in
Mm.
our generation, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to do better. We see things differently. The next generation sees things a lot differently than we do, and they act differently. So we have to just kind of let our guard down and just start sharing the truth, and work on our healing collectively.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
But you
Yeah,
know
Yeah.
and I
something, if you give me a recipe for, like, let's say, to make soda bread or Johnny cake, something we can all relate to, biscuits, right?
Biscuits. Mm-hmm.
And they don't come out right. They're like all soggy. They don't fluff. They don't do nothing. And I discover that, oh, I got to double up on the baking soda or the baking powder, right? And now I
Mm-hmm.
get these nice fluffy muffins. Now, I mean, the biscuits, they're perfect
Mm-hmm.
now. So what do I do now? Hunt down the person who gave me the original recipe and screw them, jack them up because they forgot the baking powder, or
Mm.
because they didn't tell me, because there's a soggy. And instead of giving thanks for having uncovered the fact that I need more baking powder, that this
Mm-hmm.
wisdom has come to me, that somehow, despite the fact that this bitch gave me the wrong recipe, I still got the Johnny cake or the biscuits that I want. And
Mm-hmm.
that's where I am in my life, right?
Mm.
I have nothing but gratitude for the one who gave me the original recipe. And you're saying, Tracy, there's no judgment. But the minute I feel I need to go correct that person, I am judging. I am
Mm-hmm.
judging because they have, okay, they
Is
have,
it correction though?
no, no, no.
I'm
Let me
Mhm.
get it out.
Okay. Okay.
Let me get it out. And this, well, I'm relating it to what I mean by each generation is better. You gave me something, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so there's an adjustment that I have to make because there's like a wire sticking out and it's cutting me, right? So
Mm.
I smooth that wire out. I fix that, and now it works for me. When I hand it to my daughter or the next person, there might be something there that they don't, they may not be making oil, you know, by the time they come around. So that ingredient will no longer be there.
Mm-hmm.
They might have
Mm-hmm.
to use butter or something else. The point is that it's us. It's like what we get when what we get is, for lack of a better word, flawed or inappropriate for what we need. It's up to us to find the wisdom to adjust it,
Yes.
and then move with it instead of going back and finding fault. or trying to fix it back there in the past where the handing over happened. And I say that in defense of mothers because of this. Why is everyone insisting or assuming that your mother has to love you? Because I'm speaking for myself personally, it's very dangerous because if I convince myself, if I can't accept the truth that my mother does not love me, then now my life believes that what she gave me was love, and that's what I go looking for, whether consciously or
Mhm.
unconsciously. That's what I'm doing.
Right.
So I
True.
have to stop and say, you know what? That was not love. And that's where there's no judgment because I don't have to say, I'm not judging her. I'm stating a fact. The love that my life wants, the love that I came here for, that's not it.
Hmm.
Well, not anymore. I'm conscious now. I know better, right? So now I go and find what love I want, the kind of love I need, and now it becomes my responsibility. And that's what I mean by the biscuit recipe. It's like it's not for me to go, to try to fix my mother, to make her love me, to convince myself that what she gave me was love. I think
Hmm.
none of those things arrive at a solution, but it takes, again, cojones to be able to do the work that you're talking about, the internal work, and come to
Yeah.
a place to say, you know what, my mother didn't love me. I don't hate her, but now I understand the problem
Hmm.
because my pattern for loving is whatever it is that she gave me, or even if it's a father or whatever, it's the person that caretaker that's teaching you about love. So if that lesson didn't get transmitted, it's a clue that we have some idea that we want to be loved better,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? And I just think that
Yeah.
that's us now. It's not for me to teach my mother or father,
Hmm.
And unfortunately, my parents aren't physically here for me to teach them that.
but you
What was
don't
good
have
for,
to.
and I don't have to. You're right. I don't have to. And I feel 100% healed by because
Mhm.
doing the work, especially when I was going through this extreme grief, to say no, God, mom, I forgive some of the choices that have been made, and I feel like I'm the better person, or I'm the woman that I am today because of what she did for me. It was definitely flawed, definitely, and I'll definitely wanted to acknowledge Belinda. She said that I've done the work to heal from childhood trauma,
Mhm.
therapy, groups, books, friends, etc. It all helped to unmute with safe people.
Mhm.
And that's a very I want to I can't emphasize that enough. I have very safe people that I can unmute to. Yes, I'll do the work and unmute to myself once I've identified what the issue is,
Mhm.
and then to talk to people that I can trust, and then therapy. What's wrong with therapy? I
Right?
love therapy. Therapy is healing. Jesus,
It
if
is.
Jesus,
It's
oh, you
part of
can
the
run.
deal.
It's right, exactly. They go run to church and have Jesus fix it. Well, Jesus made therapists. How about that?
Mm.
So come on. Therapy is great. I'm a therapist. Woo!
Yeah.
But
You're like, give me some.
it's that
Give me
search for
some.
being loved. We're all looking to be loved. It always comes down to
Yeah.
that, you know?
Hmm. And Mountain
Absolutely.
Spirit, is this what you said? It's what we get is flawed. It's up to us to find the wisdom and what happened. Is that what you were saying in general? I
To
kind
get
of
to fix that flaw and pretty
okay.
much at large,
For yourself. Hmm.
yeah, as opposed to looking for, the original, what was handed to us.
Go back and fix it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And so let me also say it's not just it's also things that we've taken on ourselves,
Mhm.
right? There are some things that I took, for example, I took on this need to control every little thing I took that on, right? I took it and I made it this huge thing that actually started impacting my life in a way that I didn't love. It made me crazy. And it was because of something that I learned, right? Or something that, and it was just one little thing that was said to me, but it was something that I took and made into, that saying, you made a mountain out of a molehill.
Mm.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
Yes,
Mhm.
but I did that, right? So
Mhm.
that too is part of my healing. It's not just about going back and doing that. But it's for, in order for me to move forward, I have to acknowledge and unmute about my truth surrounding that.
Mhm.
Okay.
And the
Okay.
truth was, my dad said one little thing, and I was like, I took it and I made it into a beast.
Mhm.
So, yeah. So just looking at things from that perspective.
Oh, it's a lot to
Oh,
process. And that's
it,
the
Yeah.
well,
other
it,
thing too. Because sometimes we go look, why not go looking, but sometimes we get that information and we feel like we need to process it. We don't have to be a blender. It's just like, you
no.
never like try to do that with the wrong blender and it's like it is not ready. So
Mhm.
just do it in bite size or
And,
in
and you, yeah,
doses.
you have to. Again, that always reminds me of that gift, that little baby that run in like, "Ooh, I got enough. Okay, I gotta go." Turn
It's
around
too
and
You
much.
know, I got to throw something in here. There's
come on.
a woman who shared with me that her now she's like 68, and her daughter, who is somewhere in her 50s or late 40s, had just told her that she had been having sex with her stepfather,
Mm.
with my friend Barbara's
Yep.
husband. And my friend is completely devastated. She's completely devastated
Yeah.
because she's dying. And what she said to me was, because I couldn't understand, why is this so painful? It's over. It happened. I mean, I understand the pain, but her reaction to me just seemed really like big. And it wasn't because she was dying. It was because she said, "What is it? Why would she tell me now? Like,
Mm.
what is it that she wants me to do now?" It
With
seems
that.
like she chose my most disempowered, the worst space in our lives to tell me this.
Mm.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
unmuting, going back to what Val said in the beginning, yeah, the unmuting, the timing and the people, um,
Discernment.
just so because you can cause some tremendous suffering and just
Mhm.
completely derail her life because Barbara's dead now, but now the daughter is alive and she's still suffering. So it didn't end with her just
It
telling
didn't
them,
end.
Mm.
So yeah, there's a lot of responsibility in
Yeah.
unmuting. Yeah.
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 A
I
lot of
think,
responsibility. I like that.
yeah, yeah. In our own healing, there's responsibility there,
Ability.
absolutely. And
Hmm.
it doesn't necessarily mean going back and, like, beating somebody with a stick, or like
Although
give me
that
that,
feels good.
give me that blender.
What were
Somebody,
you thinking?
what is wrong with you? Right,
Well, I
right.
mean, we've seen that happen with people, right? What's
Yeah.
the
And
intention?
that's what that's
Right.
exactly where I was going, Marie. Like, you know what? You see people do that. Look what you've done to my life. It's like,
You
no, this is your
do
life.
it.
You're
You just
responsible
blow
for that.
somebody's life up.
Yeah.
No, but I know that with my mom's love, and her, the way that she loved me, she's still loving me from the grave because of
Mm.
my life right now. So I had to literally just, I brought my thought process full circle, did the full timeline, did all of that, and I did the work in grief recovery, grief therapy, and I feel healed from that. I no longer wake up thinking I don't want to go on another day because my mom's not here. I
Mm.
don't feel that way. So I did the work. There is sunshine on the other side of work, internally, emotionally, and in therapy, and or with people that you can trust.
Mhm.
So,
Absolutely. Yeah. That takes us back to the rock. Release,
Mm.
overcome, release and overcome. Some of this stuff we can't release, just release and do it easy. So we have to overcome and pull in our team. Like, who's
Mhm.
going to help me through this part?
Mhm.
Right?
Yeah.
Whether it's therapists, my sisters, my
mhm.
God, like, who's helping me through this part? Because I need a little bit of help here. I can't
Mhm.
do this part on my own.
Yeah. And it's
Okay.
ongoing, by the way. Something is gonna come up where you're gonna be like, I need to call somebody.
Let me, right.
And
Mhm.
and you need different, right? It cannot be one source, by the way. So sometimes we think it's gonna be that one thing or that one person. If you do, that's great. But I think sometimes it's almost like, when you in a mood for certain thing and you're like, no, today's chocolate, then it's this one, then it's that. I think some of us, we don't have multiples, but I think it's always great when you can reach for different options depending on the time or different resources, right? And I think in the space that we're in right now, especially when you can't run, you can escape. to a place, like some of us be like, let me go on a vacation, let me run here, let me go to this place.
Mm-hmm.
You have to stay in, you have to stay within. And I think that's why I think our community, what Tracy's teaching, is everything. Because imagine running to self is
Mm-hmm.
always an option. Going back to self, going back to home, to you, that's always here. And so that's the part I think sometimes we're so afraid of, where it's like running to other people, running to that relationship, running to that person. It's not always an option. So imagine if you learn and we learn, and that self love is there. You can always have that, and we build that and learn, how do I do that with myself? Or to soothe yourself. I was watching Mountain Spirit. It's like hugging yourself, like that self soothing
Mhm.
way of love. Oh my God, I was like
Yeah.
doing that. And there are ways to do it. Tracy was talking about the SLAY methods. Like there are ways to do that for yourself even before the pandemic. And now is the perfect time to learn, how do we do that, regardless of the secret and lies that we are surrounded by. And it is not because of the pandemic. They have been here. So I know we want to blame the pandemic for everything, but this stuff has been here all along in terms of our families, us. And at the
Yeah.
end of the day, it's always us, right?
And
We're always going to be
mhm,
with
mhm.
ourselves.
And as you unmute, please use discernment, right? Don't unmute and
Yeah.
just like vomit all over everybody. That's not the point. I'm really
Mm,
hoping that it didn't come across that way and that people realize that you do need to use discernment, right?
mm.
And go within before you go out there doing any of that stuff because the answers are there. The answers are already within you. You just have to tap into it. So, all
Yes.
right. All right. Thank you all for joining us today. Now it's
Hey,
time to say
Jesse.
goodbye to all our friends and family. All right. I don't know where I'm. I feel like I'm going to sing Mickey Mouse. That's not,
I
we're not
I
getting there.
thought you were gonna do the full Electric Company Sesame Street, close.
Not
I'm
me.
like,
One
"Orte."
of them, one of them. So we are heading over to Clubhouse for the club version of Me Moments in the Morning. Feel free to join us over there. If someone can throw that up in the chat, I greatly appreciate
Mhm.
it. That link. So Clubhouse, just come to Clubhouse, find the Slay Ground. Get there. We'll be over there completing or talking about this a little bit more, as well as sharing our gratitude, intention, and affirmation of the day. Come strong, y'all. Come correct. We'll see you back here tomorrow morning, bright and early. Much love.